Located near Florence and Prato, the Church of St. Michael and St. Francis in the Tuscan town of Carmignano was established in the early 13th century after the famous St. Francis of Assisi came to preach in this area. The town officials were so taken with the friar, today the patron saint of Italy itself, that they gave him a piece of land. There, his first disciple built a small convent with an oratory. The church was expanded in the 1330s, incorporating many of the elements typical of Franciscan churches. However, it's not because of St. Francis that many flock to what might otherwise be a rather obscure local church. You see, the nave, or central part of the church, has 6 side altars, each featuring a beautiful painting. What is considered by many to be the most beautiful, in fact, one art critic even called it one of the damnedest great paintings of all time, occupies the second altar on the right-hand side. That painting is the Visitation by Pontormo. Pontormo was born near the end of the 15th century as Jacopo Carucci in the village of Pontormo, hence the nickname Pontormo. The village was not far from Florence, where Pontormo went at a young age to become an artist's apprentice. He was first sent to Leonardo da Vinci, and then bounced between different masters before ending up with Andrea del Sarto. Now, you may think it's too bad he didn't stay with Leonardo, but Andrea del Sarto was actually famous for being one of the pioneers of the Renaissance. Unfortunately, it seems that Pontormo didn't get on well with Andrea, but it was at Andrea's studio that he met another young apprentice, Rosso Fiorentino. Together, Rosso and Pontormo would pull away from the naturalistic, classical, well-proportioned style of the Renaissance, instead embracing the intensity, artificiality, and exaggeration that would characterize a new style called Mannerism. The development in Pontormo's style can be seen in the difference between a version of the Visitation he did at the beginning of his career and this one, painted about a decade and a half later. The difference is truly striking. While the older painting is crowded with many figures who are kept distant from the viewer, this one is much more immediate and emotionally intense. You really feel like you're right there in the scene. The 2 figures in the front are the Blessed Virgin Mary on the left and her cousin, St. Elizabeth, on the right. The women clasp one another, both sharing the good news of their pregnancy. Mary is pregnant with Jesus, the Son of God, while Elizabeth is pregnant with John the Baptist. Under the thin wisps of gold that form their halos, they look into one another's eyes, obviously happy. Elizabeth's happiness lends a youthful radiance to her aged features, while Mary's happiness is more stately and serene, making her seem wise beyond her years. I love how the bellies of the 2 women are almost touching, as if their sons are trying to talk to one another. Even though the babies are invisible, we can feel their divine presence. Behind Mary and Elizabeth are 2 handmaidens, very curious characters. They almost seem to serve as doubles to their mistresses, since Mary's handmaiden is young, like her, while Elizabeth's is older, like Elizabeth. These handmaidens act as witnesses to the miraculous scene. Yet, instead of looking at Mary and Elizabeth, they seem to be looking directly out at us, the viewers. Like the handmaidens, we viewers are witnesses to the miracle. And not just the miracle of Mary and Elizabeth's pregnancies, but also the miracle that is Pontormo's artistic masterpiece. Isn't it amazing that this work still remains after all these centuries, and is still able to speak to us and dazzle us? In fact, A few years ago, the life of the painting was almost put into jeopardy when, early one morning, a garbage truck crashed into the facade of the church, badly damaging it. But, thank goodness, the painting wasn't there. It was already en route to an exhibition. A miracle indeed. It's odd that the handmaidens are so prominent, because in the background we can see two male figures who are definitely not prominent. Going by the donkey nearby, they're probably Joseph, the husband of Mary, and Zachariah, the husband of Elizabeth. By emphasizing the four women, Pontormo may have been taking inspiration from a print made by the renowned German Renaissance artist Albrecht Dürer. Dürer's print, Four Naked Women, shows four women in a startlingly similar pose. When writing about Pontormo, the famous biographer Vasari heavily criticized the painter for his German style. But Pontormo had good reason to rely on Dürer's print. You see, a plague had come to Tuscany, and Pontormo had to flee it. During that time, it was likely harder for him to access living models. Thus, he had to make good use of other sources, and he did. It's fair to say that today, most people disagree with Vasari's negative opinion and consider Pontormo's artwork one of humanity's greatest masterpieces. The trip to this little out-of-the-way church is worth it, just to see this painting. Moreover, despite the German inspiration, the painting's background is unmistakably Italian. Pontormo was probably influenced by the Tuscan city streets around him. Doesn't the street here look familiar? One of my favorite things about this painting is its use of color. The achingly bright shades are just bursting with life. The tender pinks, heavenly blues, hopeful greens, and mouth-watering oranges all clamor for your eye's attention, vying with one another for visual power. The drapery, too, is exquisite, lending the women a timeless dignity, making them even grander and more majestic than they already are. And who can be unmoved by the faces of Mary and Elizabeth, two women who understand each other in this moment as no one else can? But there's something incredibly compelling, almost uncanny, about this painting that makes it hard to look at. But, as I'm sure you'll agree, it's even harder to look away. Look away one must, though, for there are other lovely works in the church. In the other 5 side altars are other gorgeous paintings, some by Pontormo's student, Giovanni Battista Naldini. At the main altar, you'll see a wooden statue of Mary and an 18th century wooden crucifix. The stained glass windows catch the light beautifully with their brilliant colors, demonstrating that Pontormo's sublime Visitation is only the tip of the iceberg when it comes to the marvels of this church. Long after you're gone, they'll haunt you like the eyes of Pontormo's handmaidens.